Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council.
Good Thursday morning, Jonesboro. This is meteorologist Tim Root with your KLEK 102.5 FM weather. A lot of moisture coming up from the south. That'll give us cloud showers and thunderstorms today, tonight, and Friday. The high temperature today in the low 80s, and it'll probably stay in the low 80s Friday as well, near 70 tonight. The chance of showers and thunderstorms will continue over the weekend, partly to mostly cloudy Saturday and Sunday, highs 80 to 85. Your life, your music, we're KLEK 102.5 FM.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. World leaders and D-Day veterans are in northern France marking the 75th anniversary of the Normandy landings. It was a key turning point in World War II. Progress is slow, but talks will continue. That's the assessment from President Trump after a meeting between US and Mexican officials at the White House. And Sudanese officials are denying that 100 people have been killed since a crackdown started on democracy demonstrators by a paramilitary unit.
It's 9:01.
Community Conversations is brought to you by Arkansas Early Learning, offering no-cost childcare in Jonesboro and Northeast Arkansas. Applications at arearlylearning.org.
Arkansas Early Learning is a nonprofit organization.
KLEK LP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. It's now time for Community Conversations, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place, while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters or sponsors.
KLEK 102.5 FM, good morning to you on your Thursday. It's June 6, 2019. This is Community Conversations. Kato Wonder is in the studio with you. I'm filling in for Quabila Jones, who is a little under the weather, so we definitely ask that you keep her lifted up in prayer for a speedy recovery so she can return to the studio soon. Joining us today is Mr. Jeff Olson. He is with the Better Breathers Club, and he's here today to talk about COPD, and we're going to ask him to go a little bit into detail what COPD is, and also about how the Better Breathers Club, what they are doing to help those who are affected by COPD. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. So, Mr. Olson, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fine, sir. Thank you for having me on.
All right, well, we're certainly glad to have you. So let's just kind of, for those who don't know, let's just kind of go into what exactly COPD is.
Okay, COPD is an acronym for chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It covers bronchitis or emphysema from smoking. Also, asthma can be considered a COPD if you've had asthma for life and stuff. And there's a couple others out there. I can't pronounce it. They've got 12-cylinder words, but it still affects the lungs and the breathing. What we do at COPD meetings or Better Breathers meetings, is we bring in guest speakers and talk about various things that affect us. Like one time they brought in a pharmacist and a doctor to talk about the different medications available and how to use them properly. We had an attorney in last week who talked about elderly care and end-of-life things that we might need, like living wills and just wills in general. This month, we have a lady from, or an APRN from St. Bernard's Clopton Clinic with the pulmonology group, Tanya Walker, and she'll be there discussing tips on how you can talk to your provider and what you need to take to your appointments. We meet the first Friday of every month from 11 a.m. till noon at the Nettleton Baptist Church on the old NEA Fairgrounds up there by Brooklyn. And if you need any more information, just call 870-207-7595.
And you can also, I'm actually looking on the website right now. It is, you go to lung.org/, and let me go back. Let me hit my back button because the button I hit. Oh, here it is right here. lung.org/better/breathers. Let me say it again. lung.org/better-breathers. And actually has a link to the local chapter in which he just mentioned, which is meets at Nelson Baptist Church, 7001 East Johnson Avenue in Jonesboro. You can even click, and they will even give you directions to the meeting. So lots of good information here, and this is sponsored by the American Lung Association. So getting back to COPD itself, because to be honest with you, I haven't heard much about it before this interview. And you mentioned that it can affect people who have had smoking, or it can just randomly come. Is there any cure for COPD?
No, sir. No cure at all. All we can do is hope to progress or ease the progression, slow it down as much as possible.
And what are some of the treatments that are available to at least, ease the symptoms, since there is no cure?
Oh, good Lord. I know I have 2 inhalers I use every day. One is once daily Anoro, which you probably heard advertised on TV. That helps open up the bronchial airways. And then I have a Ventolin inhaler, which I use if I get too winded or whatever, doing something, I can use that and it will help me. They got breathing treatments that you can use when you progress on, and it's something they put in what they call a T-pipe apparatus, hook it up to an O2 machine, and you breathe the vapors of it, and it helps you open up and breathe better. I think they got a Trilogy vest. I'm not quite sure when you need those, but your pulmonologist will help you determine what treatments are needed.
Let's talk about your own personal story, because you talk about some of the treatments that you underwent. Let's talk about how you first learned that you had COPD, and how did you feel when you first got the diagnosis, and kind of just walk us through your journeys, because there may be someone out there listening who can get some inspiration and some insight from your story.
Okay. Let's see, is 2016, February 15th, 2016, I got up, went to make coffee and everything, poured me a cup of coffee, and I was smoking that time. I'd been smoking for 44 years, pack a day, and me and my Tomcat, or my oldest Tomcat, he goes out with me in the morning. He had to have his morning cigarette, as I called it.
Yeah, secondhand smoke, obviously.
Yeah. But anyway, excuse me. He would, we come back in, I poured a cup of coffee, I started drinking it, and I couldn't raise my arm all the way. I kept dropping my cup and stuff. And my wife thought I was having a stroke, and I told her, I said, I need to go to the ER. Well, I go in there, and they take me back and everything. They check my vitals when I go in. My pulse ox, I walk in, my pulse ox, which is the amount of oxygen in your blood, I was at 61%. And they rushed me back real quick, and the doctor started looking at me, and I was told that normally people with pulse ox that low are carried in on a stretcher. They don't walk in. After, I spent 4 days in the hospital. I went through numerous tests. It was 6 months afterwards that I went to the doctor for a flare-up or something, and I did not know I had COPD at the time. And my normal doctor was off that day, and I went to another doctor who had just graduated from medical school and everything 10 days prior. And she came in and said, "What's going on, Mr. Olson?" I said, "You got access to my file?" She goes, "Yes." I said, "Pull it up, read the history." And, and she did, and she goes, "You got COPD." I said, "I do." She goes, "Yes, that's what it says here." I said, "Wow, this is the first I heard about." And this is 6 months later. Well, I found that out. She got me started on some medicine and stuff, and I had depression. I got depressed. I stayed home. I'm like, I'm dead. I'm done. My life is over. And I had another flare up. Well, let me back up. Once I did that, I started, after about 6 months, it's like, okay, I've had enough of this. I gotta do what I can to fight this. And about a year later, I think it was, it was August of that year, September, I had another flare-up, ended up in the hospital again. And I asked if there's any support group or anything for people with this. And they said, no, not at the time. Well, I started doing research. I started asking questions. I started calling people. And the next thing I know, we got a Better Breathers Club, and we go out there, we meet, and we exchange ideas with each other of stuff that works, stuff that don't. One thing I tell everybody, get up, get exercising, move around, walk, what have you. It helps.
So what is your exercise routine?
I try to get as many steps in as I can a day.
What's your record?
My record is 11,798.
Okay, well, let's try to break that record.
Yes, I do. I've come close a couple of times, but not over.
Well, you can do it. You can do it.
Mike.
And by the way, we are speaking with Mr. Jeff Olson of the Better Breathers Club, talking about COPD. If you have a question or a comment for Mr. Olson, you can give us a call at 870-277-1080. Again, the phone number is 870-277-1080. Or you can leave your questions or your comments on our Facebook Live feed. Now, Mr. Olson, you mentioned that you went into a depression when you learned of your diagnosis, and then you also kind of transitioned into the Better Breathers Club meeting. How did meeting others that were going through the same thing help you to overcome your depression and to give you that hope to push forward? And how do you turn around and do that for others?
Okay. I started coming out of the depression before I went back into the hospital. I don't know. It's just one morning I woke up and I said, this is ridiculous. I'm done. You know, it's time to live. I think the man upstairs kicked me in the backside and said, Mr. Olson, get up. You know, he does that at times. But anyway, when I found out about the Better Breathers Club, I was talking to people before that about the COPD and saying, you know, when I found out they had it, I said, you need to, I try to help people. That, it seems like that's what I am here to do, is help people out. And because I was firefighter for 21 years also, as well as being in the military for 23 years. But anyway, when I run into somebody, I try to give them as much information as I can, because they may or may not hear it from their doctor or whoever else.
Absolutely. And I'm looking on this website that's verywellhealth.com, and it just has some little things about COPD. And I'm actually going to just read through some of them to kind of help educate the listening audience. It says, what causes COPD? It says, although smoking is the number one cause of COPD, your doctor will probably explain to you that there are other risk factors to consider as well. Some of these risk factors are common, while others are not as common. Be aware of the risk factors for the disease, which can help with earlier diagnosis and prompt treatment, since patients who know the risk factors may question their own COPD symptoms before they're diagnosed. I'll pull this over so you can see what I'm reading. And then it says, how can I have COPD when I've never smoked? It said, contrary to popular belief, smoking is not the only cause of COPD. Your doctor will confirm that never smokers can develop the disease. In fact, some studies suggest that nearly 25% of those who are diagnosed with COPD have never smoked. What is my prognosis? Although no one can accurately predict your life expectancy after a COPD diagnosis, the prognosis of the disease depends on several factors. Most importantly, whether or not you still smoke. If you continue to smoke after your diagnosis, your lung function will decline more rapidly, and the disease will progress much faster than if you were to quit completely. Other factor, hey, Adam's family. Other factors associated with COPD life expectancy are your degree of airway obstruction, your level of DYSPNEA, and your body mass index, and your exercise tolerance, and it kind of goes on from there. So again, just a quick glance of some of the information that is out there. And by the way, I would definitely encourage you to do your research to learn all that you can about this or about anything that you may be concerned with, so that you can be more educated itself. So let's talk a little bit about the Better Breathers Club itself. How did the local chapter get started?
Well, when I got out of the hospital the second time, I started asking questions. There was a respiratory therapist. up at St. Bernard's, Ronnie something. I talked to him. He's the one that got St. Bernard's going in the direction they're going, treating COPD patients. And I talked to him about it, and I didn't realize that he was trying to get a support group going too. But everybody told me there's nothing available, no support groups. So I started inquiring, and I called the American Lung Association down in Little Rock, because according to the website, that's the closest one. I said, how can I get a meeting? How can I get a chapter started up here? And they said I should be affiliated with the hospital. Well, come to find out, I called the 800 number, and they told me that this respiratory tech at St. Bernard's was working on it. I said, fine, give me my name and number. I will help him, do what I can. Next thing I know, I get told about UAMS. They're sponsoring it, and they're going to hold the first meeting, and I was there. And since then, I've been going. You know, I'm hooked.
So how many people are currently members now?
Well, we don't really have membership per se. We have people that show up, and I'm thinking we're about, I want to say 18 or 20.
Okay, so around 18 and 20. And so you said there's no membership, so obviously there's no fee to show up.
No.
You just come as you are. And can I talk about some of the things that you all do in those meetings?
I wish I had some of the old schedules. We have, we just talk about our breathing and things that we can do to help ease our breathing. You asked me earlier about my exercise routine. I tell people, get up, move around, and exercise. I said that I would try to get as many steps in as I can a day, and then twice a week I go to Health and Wellness Center and work out on the equipment and exercise. Some of the stuff we talk about, like I said, is one time they brought in all these different devices that people in various stages and with various problems they use, like the Trilogy vest. And
now let's talk a little bit about the Trilogy vest, because what is it exactly, a Trilogy vest? That sounds like an interesting piece of equipment.
Well, it is. It's a vest that you put on, and it kind of beats on your chest and stuff. Like,
so it's got like some little motors or magnets or something in there that's kind of
Yeah.
stimulating the lungs to get them to move and to.
well, what it's doing is all the mucus that your lungs develop because of this disease. One thing that hurts us is not being able to move it out.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it helps break up that mucus and get it so that we can expel it out of our lungs, whether it's, coughing it up or through getting it moist enough and the body absorbing it or getting it thin enough. Some of the times your pulmonologist or your pulmonologist nurse would tell you to use Mucinex.
Mm-hmm.
Drink plenty of water, use Mucinex, and that helps break up and loosen up the mucus in there to help you breathe. What you want to do is try to get that mucus out of you to breathe easier.
Yeah, because having that mucus inside of you definitely can be an annoyance. So,
also, people who've been around chemicals all their life, they can develop COPD from breathing in the chemicals.
I imagine the breathing in the chemicals could cause lung irritation that could then lead on to COPD.
Yes.
All right. We are speaking once again with Mr. Jeff Olson of the Better Breeders Club. Once again, if you have a question or a comment for Mr. Olson, you can give us a call at 870-277-1080, or you can leave your questions or your comments on our Facebook Live feed. I'm actually now on the American Lung Association Better Breeders Club website, and I'm just going to read a little bit about who they are. It says, living with a chronic lung disease can be easier. Better Breeders Clubs are welcoming support groups for individuals with COPD, pulmonary fibrosis, and lung cancer, and their caregivers. Learn better ways to cope with lung disease while getting the support of others in similar situations. Led by a trained facilitator, these in-person adult support groups give you the tools you need to live the best quality of life you can. Better Breeders Clubs meet regularly and feature educational presentations on a wide range of relevant topics, including how COPD affects the lungs, breathing techniques, exercise, talking with your physician, medication and other treatment options, medical tests, supplemental oxygen, home health care, lung transplants, air pollution. And then at the bottom it says, you don't have to feel alone or isolated. It feels good to talk with others who understand, and that can have a positive impact on your health. So, Mr. Olson, any comments you want to add to what I just read from the Better Breeders Club website?
Yes, sir. I would like to add one thing. I've ran into people who they don't feel like they need to go to it or whatever. Come out and check us out. You'd be surprised what you might find out, what you might like or dislike. And we're open to suggestions. You know, if you think of a way we can do something better or something you'd like to see, bring it up.
And once again, give them the location and also the contact phone number if they would like to attend the meeting and more information.
Okay, here again, we meet the first Friday of every month. This month it'll be June 7th, which is tomorrow, from 11 a.m. till noon at the Nettleton Baptist Church. And if you need more information, please call 870-207-7595.
All right, give them the phone number one more time.
870-207-7595.
All right, we are once again speaking with Mr. Jeff Olson of the Better Breeders Club of Northeast Arkansas. Is it Northeast Arkansas or Craighead County?
Right now it's Northeast Arkansas.
Northeast Arkansas. We're going to get ready to go to a break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more. This is Community Conversations on KLEK on the 2.5 FM.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
Husbands, do you know what your wife really wants? I'm Mark Merrill with today's Family Minute. We all want to be the best husband we can be, but it's not easy. Why? Well, women are different. Their desires and their ways of communicating are often not like our own. Here are 5 things wives wish their husbands knew. First, that women desire appreciation. Wives want to feel valued, and being a mom is hard work, so never take them for granted. Second, that wives desire attention. So in a world where phones, television, and other technology are shouting out for our time and distracting us, show your spouse she is still your number one by giving her your full attention when you're together. For more things wives wish their husbands knew, check out my blog at markmerrill.com. Remember, your family first.
Family Minute is made possible by the Kappa Nu Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, a non-profit organization committed to service to all mankind. Kappa Nu Omega Alpha Kappa Alpha on Facebook and KNOMEGA1908.com.
Family Minute is brought to you by the Gears Foundation, a non-profit organization providing students with assistance in their academic and career pursuits. Gears Foundation on Facebook, Gears_Inc. on Instagram, and the Gears Foundation at gmail.com.
On June 4th, 2019, the Craighead County chapter of the NAACP presented a proposal to the Jonesboro City Council Public Works Committee to rename Johnson Avenue in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The renaming would affect Johnson from Dan Avenue to the Jonesboro city limit near Farville Curve. If enacted, there will be a 2-year transition period where both names, Johnson and MLK, will be recognized. The proposal was referred to the entire Jonesboro City Council, which will take up the proposal at their next meeting, scheduled for Tuesday, June 18, 2019, at the Jonesboro City Council chambers. Those wishing to speak in support or opposition of the proposal should arrive at the meeting by 4 p.m. to ensure a seat, as capacity will quickly be reached.
KLEK thanks CJ Pepper and the staff of Life Strategies Counseling Incorporated for helping people through hard times in life such as depression, family issues, stress, abuse, and more. They offer counseling and therapy for all ages, individuals, families, and groups. They are located at 1217 Stone Street. Phone number 1-866-972-1268 or online at lscihelp.com.
Support for KLEK is brought to you by
a story about a good friend and a farmer. He'd found a farm he wanted to buy and talked to his wife, and she was okay with it. Another piece of land came up for sale, and his wife said, before you buy more land, you're going to have to let me work on our house. Each time he mentioned land, his wife mentioned a house. A friend of his told him one day, he said, you keep buying land, you're going to have the largest house in this county. Glenn saying, God bless our troops.
House of Details, located at 3915 East Highland in Jonesboro, is a proud supporter of KLEK, offering detailing on any type of vehicle: basic wash, hand wash, shampoo, interior cleaning, waxing, buffering, headlight restoration, pickup, delivery, and more, with a motto of anything mean we can clean. Details at 870-273-5187. House of Details on Facebook and at klekfm.org.
Do you like the music you hear on KLEK 102.5 FM? Do you like the educational programming that we provide? Do you like the service we provide to the community? Do you like having a station to finally call your own that represents you? If so, please stop by or call any of our underwriters or sponsors that you hear on KLEK and tell them thank you for their support. The support of our underwriters and sponsors is vital for us to stay on the air, so be sure to let them know that you thank them for their support.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
And we're back on Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM with our guest, Mr. Jeff Olson of the Better Breeders Club of Northeast Arkansas, and we've just been talking about all things COPD, and we've definitely been enjoying the conversation, hearing his story of how he learned he developed COPD, and also how he, along with others in the Better Breeders Club, are trying to reach out and to help others. So once again, Mr. Olson, just for those who may just be tuning in, just a quick recap on what COPD is and a little bit more about the Better Breeders Club of Northeast Arkansas.
Okay. COPD is an acronym for chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It can come from smoking. It can come from asthma or bronchitis. It can come from working with chemicals all your life. And I've been told that there's also a COPD that is inherited through your genes and stuff. It's not that many people have it, but it's available. I mean, it's possible. COPD, or the Better Breeders Club, you know, we're a bunch of people with COPD. We're facilitated by professional nurses and doctors and respiratory people, and you know, we have meetings, we bring in speakers, they talk about, we have an attorney come in, talk about wills and stuff. We have a pharmacist and a doctor come in and talk about the different medications available and how to use them. One time we brought in the different types of medical equipment that is available for use and stuff. We just talk about various things, and we try to pass on to the people, you know, what is available, what can help, what can, you know. One thing I tell people is that when you get diagnosed, you need to quit smoking. Because when I was a firefighter, I went on EMS calls, and I don't know how many people I ran on that were on oxygen for one reason or another, and I knew one guy had COPD, and they didn't quit smoking, and they, you know, they died eventually.
Now, you yourself were a smoker. When you were working as a firefighter and you would see these, did that not kind of nudge you to make you say, you know, I need to quit myself? I'm seeing these others like that.
No, sir. I thought I had a big red S tattooed on my chest because I didn't think it'd affect me. But I smoked a pack a day for 44 years.
Wow. And of course, when you learned that you developed the COPD, we kind of talked a little bit about this off air, but talk about the process of how you quit, because for some people, and I'll use the example of my late mother, you know, unfortunately, she was never able to quit, and it is very difficult. I mean, some people are able to do it and some people are not, but kind of walk us through what it took for you to finally quit.
All right. Well, I said last hour or last before
segment
the break that February 15th of 2016, I went into the ER because I couldn't hold on to my coffee cup. And like I said, they discovered that my pulse ox, which is the amount of oxygen in my blood, was at 61%, and I should have been hauled in on a stretcher. Anyway, they took me back there, the doctor's talking to me, and I teased my wife. I tell people that she was yelling in one ear, or the doctor's yelling in one ear, and when the doctor stopped to take a breath, she started in on the other ear. I said, before I knew it, I had a patch slapped on me and all my cigarettes were taken away. It was a very long, hard road to go. I think it took me about 2 years. I had tried quitting smoking earlier in my life and it never succeeded. And this time it's like, I got to do it.
And what were some of the aids that you used to help you quit?
Well, I used the patch. In the past, I've used well, it wasn't Chantix. It was, it's a Wellbutrin or something like that, which is a generic for the Chantix. That didn't help me. That just made me crazier. I tried the gum. It has nasty taste, and I tried that when it first came out. I called the 1-800 number, Quit Now, to see if they would help me, and they said, you got insurance, you're on your own. I hate to say that, but, that's what they told me. I'm like, okay.
Kind of defeats the purpose of having insurance.
Yeah. Well, it defeats the purpose of the state offering that free help, I can understand if, there's some people that do definitely need it, but, never mind. I won't get into that.
Yeah, understandable.
But anyway, I decided to go back to the patch. I'd been on the patch before, and I started using it, and I followed their routine, which is 6 weeks on stage 1, and then 2 weeks on stage 2, and 2 weeks on stage 3, and you're supposed to be done.
Now, what are now you mentioned stage 1, 2, and 3. What are those stages?
Okay, on your patches, you have what they call 3 stages. And depends on what kind of cigarette you smoke, depends on what stage you start at.
Mm-hmm.
The cigarettes I smoked was Marlboro Reds, or was...
Same as my mom.
Yeah, and they're high in tar and nicotine. So you use the stage 1, which is 21 milligrams of nicotine in that patch. You put it on every day, you change it out. It helps. You can smoke while you're on it. They recommend you not smoke after week 2, but you can. And if you should happen to fall off the wagon, as I called it, and have a cigarette while you're on the patch, it won't hurt you. It just, you need to stop and go back on the wagon. My stage 1 lasted 6 months because I felt that I wasn't ready for the step down.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, during the whole time I was quitting, I fell off the wagon numerous times. Most I ever smoked when I was quitting was 6 cigarettes in a day. And, I'm like, why am I doing this? Because I could feel my lungs tightening up, making it harder to breathe. And I threw them away and said, that's it, I'm done. But, I go for, 3-4 months, boom, fall off the wagon again. Just had to have one. And finally it got lesser and lesser. And, yes, I do fall off the wagon. It's a big deal, but not that big of a deal. Because, you just throw them away again, get back on the wagon and say, okay, let's go. I finally stepped down to step 2. It felt like every time I tried to go to stage 3 or step 3, I couldn't fully transitioned. I stayed on step 3. Then in May of last year, I went to the hospital. I had excruciating headaches for 4 days. Up here at St. Bernard's, they found out that I had a aneurysm on my carotid artery going into my brain. They sent me down to St. Vincent's in Little Rock. They decided not to do nothing, but they discovered a pulmonary embolism, which is a blood clot in my lung going to the heart. And my blood gases were off, so they put me on a BiPAP, which is, it's a machine, and it helps you breathe better and helps get rid of that carbon monoxide buildup in your lungs and stuff. So I was on that for 12 hours. They put me on some high-power blood thinners, and when I got done, 4 days later, they said, okay, you're cured, you can go home now. My wife said, you haven't had a patch on for 4 days. Do you really need them? I said, probably not, but I will, we'll give it a try. I won't use them. I got home, haven't put a patch on yet, but I still got this stage 2s that I had left. They're still in my medicine cabinet, just in case.
Well, we definitely appreciate you sharing your journey, and hopefully it inspires others to quit as well, because if you do quit smoking, then it definitely decreases your chances of developing diseases such as COPD and other conditions. When we were on our break, you mentioned you want to go back to the website for the Better Breathers Club and talk about some of the things on there. So I've got it pulled up. So which one of these talking points that you want to go back into?
Well, mainly I think it had something about the smoking, quit smoking. I don't see. No.
Maybe somewhere else, but
okay. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about, but this gave me an idea of stuff to cover. The supplemental oxygen, when I got released from the hospital the first time, they put me on oxygen at home. And the doctor said that as soon as I got better and could get off it without it affecting my breathing and stuff, I could. So that's, there again, that's something that put me into depression. And then it's like, okay, the only way I can get rid of this is by getting up and moving around and do something to help my breathing. I bought a pulse ox device through Amazon. It measures the oxygen level in your blood, and if I can keep it in the 90s, I'm doing good.
All right, got a few questions. I'm sorry I had to refresh our Facebook live feed. I don't know why the questions wasn't showing up in real time. But Kubila asked, for someone who has been diagnosed, how important is it to have a system of support while going through treatment? That's the first question. So
I found it very important. My wife worked, of course. When she got off work, she'd come and sit with me and talk to me and stuff. My sons and my family would come by and talk. And, when you're in the hospital, if you're nice to the nurses and stuff, they'll come by, they'll talk when they come by and do their whatever they got to do, One thing I did was, of course, I like colder temperatures, colder room. And up there, a lot of the rooms, when you close the door at St. Bernard's, that room gets hot. I told the nurses and everybody coming in and out, leave the door open about 3 inches. That allowed that air to circulate. I had the thermostat sitting on 65. Those nurses and techs and everybody came in there and they loved it.
I can imagine it probably gets pretty warm up in the hospital.
Yeah.
And she then goes on to say, do you have children or grandchildren? And what's the thought of you not being there for them a motivator for staying on track with your treatments and also your smoking cessation?
Yes, I do have children, and at the time I had one grandchild, and yes, that was kind of a motivating factor, but I guess not being there for my family at all is something that helped in the back of my mind. Of course, like I said at break, I got a few kicks in the backside from the man upstairs, and he let me know when I was screwing up, and it's helped.
And of course, that kind of also answered her next question about your wife as well. But let's talk a little bit about your spouse and the emotions and the feelings she were going through while you were and still continue to go through what you go through.
Well, I've been married to my wife. It's 31 years this year. And I gotta say, she's a saint. When I was acting stubborn and not wanting to do what the doctor said and everything, she's there getting on me and telling me that I need to listen and I need to quit being so stubborn. And she told me she wanted me to quit years ago before this affected my health. And I tried, but I never really had that much heart into it.
Oh, bless you. While we wait for you to come back, we have another Facebook shout out. Shout out to Andy Shatley. Appreciate you, Mr. Shatley, for checking in on our Facebook live feed. And of course, I definitely appreciate you talking about how your wife impacted you, and I definitely understand and can relate to that. My wife actually turns 40 today, so happy birthday, Pam. We're gonna go out to
happy birthday.
We're gonna go out to dinner later on this afternoon. All right, so I'm kind of looking on this website, verywellhealth.com, and one of the things I see on here is a spirometry test. It says spirometry is a pulmonary function test that's used to diagnose COPD and determine its severity. Ideally, your doctor should thoroughly explain the results to you in a way that you can understand them. Unfortunately, this does not always happen. There are 3 values measured in spirometry that are critically important for making a COPD diagnosis: your forced vital capacity, FVC, your forced expiratory volume in 1 second, FEV1, and the ratio of your FEV1 to your FVC. Monitoring your results over time helps your doctor determine if your COPD is improving, staying the same, or getting worse. So, did you have a spirometry test for your diagnosis?
Yes, sir. When I was first diagnosed with it, I was scheduled for a spirometry test, and I went out to St. Bernard's, and I did it, and I never found out the results until, like I said, 6 months later. But I do remember them making me blow into it. I had to do it like 3 different times, and then maybe it was 4. I had to blow into the machine for quite a few times. And then, a year before, I think it was 2017, I signed up for a COPD study. And every time we went, I met with the nurse in charge of the study and the doctor. I had to do it. They did a spirometry test on me to see how well the medications and stuff was working.
And how has the medication been working? How well has it worked for you? I mean, is it a situation where the medicine works continuously, or does it start for a while, then stop, and you have to go on something else?
Depending on how much you move around, if you smoke or not. My pulmonologist tried to put me on, when Trilogy come out, he tried to put me on that. He thought it'd help me out better. My body said, we don't like this. My blood pressure shot up because of that medicine. I told my pulmonologist I was going back to the other and why, and he agreed, and it just, I don't know, I seem to be doing pretty good with the medicine that I'm currently on, and the exercise and walking and everything else. And quitting smoking also helped me too.
And that's absolutely a good thing. Let's bring it back to the Better Breeders Club. You all having a community breakfast, which is scheduled for tomorrow from 11 o'clock a.m. to noon at the Nettleton Baptist Church, where the old NEA Fairgrounds is located. The address is 7001 East Johnson Avenue. It's going to be at the north entrance, which you all have in parentheses, the Brooklyn side of the building. The guest speaker will be Tanya Walker, a PRN from St. Bernard's Clopton Clinic in Pulmonology. She will be discussing tips on how to talk to your provider, what to bring to appointments, and more. And of course, for more information, the phone number is 870-207-7595. Again, that's 870-207-7595. So what are some other things which people can look forward to at this meeting if they attend?
Okay, at the meeting, we try to have a little snack tray or something for them. Try to have some water or something to drink, usually water. One thing I'd like to mention about how to talk to your provider, some of these pulmonologists can come across as being harsh. I don't know how to put it, it's like they forgot to take a course in
empathy.
Well, empathy or bedside manner.
Mm-hmm.
And mine, I got upset with him like the second time, and I just told him, look, this is the way it's going to be. You either work with me or I'm going to find a new one. And, the next time I came in, which was a couple months later, he had a totally different attitude. So, they're people like you and I. Yes, he has a doctor's degree. I don't. Okay, fine. That means he went to school for 12 years, owes probably $100,000 in student loans, and, he's paid to know this stuff. That's his job. But it doesn't mean that he can't treat me like a human.
Well, definitely, it's all about treating people with respect because everybody is important. You mentioned that you were a firefighter. We obviously need firefighters. Everybody has a job to do, so just treat people with respect, and they'll definitely get you much further in life. Now get ready to go to our final break. When we come back, we'll wrap up with our segment with Mr. Jeff Olson of the Better Breeders Club. They're going to meet tomorrow, Nettleton Baptist Church, 7001 East Johnson Avenue, 11 a.m. to noon. So if you have COPD or know someone with COPD or just want to learn more, come out to this meeting. We'll be back with more. This is Kate, LEK, 102.5 FM.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
We're back with Money Matters. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. The following pieces of money-saving advice are for those still in the planning stages for their wedding. Never pay retail for a bridal gown. Shop around for discount sales on designer gowns, and you could score a dress for less than $500 instead of thousands. Also, consider renting your gown to save even more money. Get married on off days during off-season for your area. Generally speaking, you'll get better prices on weddings that take place between November and April, since 70% of nuptials take place between May and October. You'll also save by getting married on any day but Saturday. Check out costofwedding.com for more tools and information to help with budgeting for your wedding. But let me be clear, you and your intended need to talk about money and budgeting for your marriage, not just your wedding day. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. for Money Matters, a product of American Urban Radio Networks.
Money Matters is made possible by the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, a nonprofit organization focused on joy in our sisterhood, power in our voice, and service in our hearts. www.jonesboroalumnidst.org.
Money Matters is brought to you by Bancorp South, offering checking, savings, loans, credit cards, and wealth management. 5 locations in Jonesboro to serve you. www.bancorpsouth.com or 870-972-9800.
Money Matters is brought to you by the Gears Foundation, a nonprofit organization providing students with assistance in their academic and career pursuits. Gears Foundation on Facebook, Gears_Inc. on Instagram, and the Gears Foundation at gmail.com.
KLEK 102.5 FM will host our second annual Juneteenth celebration Saturday, June 15th, starting at 10 a.m. Parker Park Community Center, 1506 North Church Street in Jonesboro. This year's theme is fulfilling the dreams of our ancestors. Toastmasters. There will be speakers providing educational information, our sweet potato pie contest, barbecue cook-off to see who's the best on the grill, head wrap competition, and line dance-off. Prizes will be awarded for each competition. There also will be bounce houses and games for the whole family to enjoy. Special Juneteenth t-shirts are also available for sale. We would love for the community as a whole to be a part of this celebration. If you would like to be a part of our Juneteenth celebration or enter any of our Juneteenth contests, visit our website, klekfm.org, or call us at 870-277-1080.
Starks Auto Plaza at 2829 Red Wolf Boulevard is a proud KLEK supporter, offering luxury pre-owned vehicles sold wholesale to the public. At Starks, we never say no. 870-203-9980. Details at starksautoplaza.com.
Check out Melvin Williams of the Williams Brothers every Sunday morning from 5 to 7 a.m. here on KLEK for the Melvin Williams Down Home Gospel Radio Show, playing the very best in quartet and inspirational gospel music that you'll love, as well as feature interviews with all of your favorite gospel artists. It's Melvin Williams Down Home Gospel Radio Show, Sundays from 5 to 7 a.m. on KLEK 102.5 FM.
On June 4th, 2019, the Craighead County chapter of the NAACP presented a proposal to the Jonesboro City Council Public Works Committee to rename Johnson Avenue in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The renaming would affect Johnson from Dan Avenue to the Jonesboro city limit near Farville Curve. If enacted, there will be a 2-year transition period where both names, Johnson and MLK, will be recognized. The proposal was referred to the entire Jonesboro City Council, which will take up the proposal at their next meeting, scheduled for Tuesday, June 18, 2019, at the Jonesboro City Council chambers. Those wishing to speak in support or opposition of the proposal should arrive at the meeting by 4 p.m. to ensure a seat, as capacity will quickly be reached.
The Kappa Nu Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated was chartered on June 29, 1975 in Jonesboro, Arkansas. AKA was founded on a mission comprised of 5 basic tenets, which are to cultivate and encourage high scholastic and ethical standards, promote unity and friendship amongst college women, study and help alleviate problems concerning girls and women in order to improve their social stature, maintain a progressive interest in college life, and be of service to all mankind through programs of educational enrichment, health promotion, family strengthening, environmental ownership, and global impact. More information about the Kappa Nu Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated is available at Kappa Nu Omega Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated on Facebook and KNOMEGA1908.com.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
And we're back on Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM with our guest, Mr. Jeff Olson of the Better Breeders Club of Northeast Arkansas. And if you are just joining us, they will be meeting tomorrow, June 7th, from 11 a.m. to noon at the Nettleton Baptist Church at the NEA Fairgrounds site, 7001 East Johnson Avenue at the north entrance. The guest speaker will be Tanya Walker, APRN from St. Bernard's Clopton Clinic Pulmonology Group, and she will discuss tips on how to talk to your provider, what to bring to appointments, etc. And so, if you need more information about COPD, if you have COPD or if you know someone with COPD, I definitely would strongly encourage you to come to this meeting. So, Mr. Olson, let's just kind of recap our previous segments. Is there anything out there that you want to say to the listeners that we may not have covered or that you may want to retouch on?
I would just like to say, if you got COPD, come on out. Depression will get you down. It's a bad thing to deal with. Come on out. It's people that have the same disease, and also quit smoking. Get up and move around, walk around, and exercise. There's one gentleman that comes out there. He used to be on oxygen 24/7. He took my advice. At the last meeting, he said he'd been exercising for 3 months, and he is able to get off oxygen all the time. He still carries it with him, just in case, he says, and he has to have it at night. But he said, I'm off it most of the day, which I think is great.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the other groups which you are involved with, we were talking about this off the air, is Moms Demand Action, and they're going to have an event this Saturday over by Fisher Street. In fact, KLEK, we will be out there DJing, so they're going to give information about some of the work that they're doing in the community to prevent gun violence. So let's talk a little bit about your involvement with them.
I just got involved. I met, the lady's name is Rebecca Evans, I do believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess she's the facilitator or the coordinator for the group. I met her at the Health Expo in February, and I went to the first meeting that they had last month, and I decided to sign up for this Wear Orange Day in North Alice, at 315 North Alice. I forget what park it is.
I don't remember it off the top of my head, but I know it's over by Fisher Street, the church over there.
Yeah,
of course, if you just ride in the Fisher Street area, or as you mentioned on North Alice, and you see all the people wearing orange and you hear the music, then you're definitely at the right place.
It's at the intersection of Alice and Word.
There you go. So just head for the area, look for the orange shirts, and listen for the music. Is anyone else from your organization going to be out there? Will you all be passing out information at that event? I know the meeting would have been over with by then.
I do not know. I did not ask about passing out anything at the Moms Demand Action on the COPD, but we're going to be passing out action on, or information on Moms Demand Action, our group, and what we stand for.
And I know Moms Demand Action is going to be a part of our Juneteenth celebration on the 15th, so feel free to come out to that along with the Moms Demand Action as well. Getting ready to wrap up our interview. We want to thank Mr. Olson for stopping by the studio today. Mr. Olson, once again, give people information on how they can learn more about COPD and the Better Breathers Club of Northeast Arkansas.
Okay, you can go to lung.org/better-breathers website and get some information about that. You can come out to our meeting this Friday, which is tomorrow, the 7th of June, from 11 to noon at the Nettleton Baptist Church, and we're on the north end. Or you can call 870-207-7595 and ask for more information. They'll be glad to help you out.
And we definitely encourage each and every one of you to come out so that you can learn more about COPD and how it affects you. If you have COPD, if you know someone with COPD, or if you just want to learn more information just to see what is going on, and definitely if you are a smoker, let me ask you this: is there going to be information there to help people quit smoking, since the two are linked and related?
That's not a bad idea. We haven't done it yet. I mean, usually if somebody comes in and brings up the topic of smoking, everybody there tells what they did to quit, But I'll bring that up to the facilitator, see if we can have a meeting on that.
Well, I think it would be a great resource because it is very important that people stop smoking so that they don't develop COPD, emphysema, lung cancer, or any of the other ailments that can come from smoking. So again, check it out. It's going down tomorrow, June 7th, 2019, from 11 o'clock a.m. to noon at the Nettleton Baptist Church at the NEA Fairgrounds, 7001 East Johnson Avenue. At the north entrance, which is the Brooklyn side of the building, the guest speaker will be Tanya Walker, APRN from St. Bernard's Clopton Clinic Pulmonology Group. She will discuss tips on how to talk to your provider, what to bring to appointments, and more. And more information is available at 870-207-7595. Again, that phone number is 870-207-7595. You guys, thank you once again. We are praying that Quabila will be back with us tomorrow, but if not, then I will be here, and Quabila will be back soon. You guys have a great and blessed day. This is Community Conversations, and you're listening to KLEK 102.5 FM.
Thank you for listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters or sponsors.
Broadcasting from the First National Bank